before his time in the administration suddenly and abruptly came to an end.
We actually spoke the day that he sent the tweet out, just a few hours before. And we talked a lot about issues at VA that were important and how we could continue to make progress and policy issues. In fact, we had set up a meeting for the very next day where I was going to meet with him at 11 o'clock in the morning.
A vocal White House critic says he's worried the Trump administration will now push to privatize the VA, noting Shulkin resisted such efforts.
Now, I work very closely with the major veterans organizations, the American Legion, VFW, DAV, Vietnam Vets, all of the veterans organizations. And what they say is they want to strengthen the VA, not dismember it, not privatize it. So we will see what Dr. Jackson has to say.
Dr. Ronnie Jackson has been called a fine man and an honest public servant by those who knew him during the Obama administration, but some are questioning his ability to lead such a massive bureaucracy. A key Republican says Dr. Jackson is a solid choice.
Well, I think he'll get confirmed because he's made life and death decisions on the battlefield. He's commanded medical personnel on the battlefield. He's been in the middle of this war. And you need somebody to go into the VA who's willing to fight the bureaucracy. And I think Admiral Jackson's a good pick because he's been on the battlefield. He knows what the fight's all about.
Others note the VA has been a mess under a wide range of secretaries with varied backgrounds, so perhaps Dr. Jackson will be the right person to shake things up. Melissa?
They need something, that's for sure. Mike Emanuel, thank you. Joining me now for more on the legal implications of all this is former federal prosecutor Doug Burns. Let's start with Shulkin, whether he was fired or quit. What difference does it make?
Well, the reason it makes a difference is that there's a law from 1998, the Federal Vacancies Reform Act. It's a little in the weeds, but let me explain. And the text of the law addresses somebody who either resigns or can't fulfill the duties of their office. It's silent, apparently, on if somebody's fired. So the argument from those who oppose the president putting in the temporary replacement is you can't do that when somebody has been fired. I actually think it's a little weak legally because there's some legislative history, floor debate with senators indicating that they wanted to really include somebody who was fired. And then there's the obvious political backstory working off the way you guys teed this up, which is that the number 2 in the VA, in the agency, is similarly opposed to the president's approach, seriously, Melissa, with respect to the VA. So that's why he put in the temporary replacement.
So it's a fight between whether he can really put in a temporary replacement or if he's forced to elevate the number 2?
That's exactly what it is, because normally if somebody is out, the number 2 assumes the post. But the other political backstory, which is really interesting in my opinion, is here's the question. Is this a trial run, i.e., if he did want to get rid of the Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein would move up. He doesn't want that. So this is like a trial run to see if he could put in a temporary replacement.
Well, that's speculation.
Yeah, that's speculation,
but it's still interesting to think about. There's also the idea, you know, of as, you know, some people in my household say this is a president who loves to fire people. He just loves to fire people. And that maybe makes it harder to hire down the line. That's something that Senator Ron Johnson said. Listen.
It's not the way I do it.
You would understand if people were like, I don't know if I want to take this job.
I think the president does need to understand the effect it has on attracting other people.
So that makes logical sense. At the same time, the honor and even, you know, the ego that goes into if somebody calls you and asks you, if the president calls you and asks you to come and take any job, people really going to turn that down? You never think you're going to get fired when you take a job.
As crazy as it sounds, what you put forward is so interesting because, I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist, so let's check that at the door. But, I mean, look, he was on this massive TV show, the essence of which was, you know, terminating and firing people. Right. You're fired. Many wiser than I've said, you know, this presidency takes on, you know, indications of reality television and so forth. So I think your observation is brilliant, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But what does it mean going forward? I mean, does it truly mean that people are reluctant to take the job because they think they're going to get fired?
No,
I sort of think when he calls someone, their ego is, he's calling me, I'm wonderful, you know, I'm not going to get fired. You never think you're going to get fired, even if you're going into a job where the person before you was fired.
There are two aspects to this. One is just discussing it in a vacuum, and two, the reality, which is, oh my God, being in the Oval Office. Oh my God, there's the president. As people have said, it's the office, not the person to some extent. So I think it's hard to turn down if the president comes knocking and says he wants you to serve in the administration. But at the same time, I don't think we've seen a level statistically of this many terminations.
So a lot of people have wondered why Shulkin is so, why he's talking so much, why he's out going around doing so many things, and you know, even sort of talking about the way in which he was released. Do you feel, I've wondered if there's another agenda there.
Well,
as a lawyer, do
yeah.
you feel like he's teeing up for something, or what is he doing?
Well, here's some more speculation, which I don't think is that outlandish. I mean, you look at Supreme Court litigation, they go around, they want to find a plaintiff, find a case. So maybe somebody enlisted him on this idea about, wait a minute, the president can't pick the interim person because they want to drive that agenda of what they want versus the president. It's kind of interesting.
That would be an interesting thing to look out for going forward if somebody picks him up to be the issue. Wow, good insight. Thank you.
My pleasure.
All right, the U.S. and South Korea kicking off annual joint military exercises after a delay for the Winter Olympics. How North Korea is responding and what it means to a possible meeting between President Trump and Kim Jong-un. Plus, the Dow selling off today, in case you didn't notice. Look at that. 586 points right now as China hits back against President Trump's tariffs. Details ahead.
Hi, I'm William Devane. You've heard me talk about how smart it is to buy silver. Well, there's a growing demand for silver around the world, and right now silver is very affordable with room to grow in value. So don't miss out. I buy my silver from Roslyn Capital. Buying silver has been an important way to accumulate wealth for thousands of years and a great way to start investing. There are silver coins, silver bars, and even full bags of silver. And Roslyn has them all. And with Roslyn, what you order is what you get. No gimmicks, no nonsense, no hassle. I like that, and so will you. So when it comes to buying gold or silver, call Roslyn Capital.
Call now and get a free gold kit, including coins only available from Roslyn Capital, a free silver kit, and a free IRA kit. Call 800-630-8900, 800-630-8900, 800-630-8900.
I wanted to lose weight and be healthy, but I needed help.
I needed it to be simple.
Introducing Nutrisystem Flex, the real-life way to lose weight, eat healthier, and learn to maintain your weight loss. Lose up to 13 pounds and 7 inches overall in your first month. Lose weight fast, money back guaranteed.
I'm Erin, and I lost 30 pounds with Nutrisystem.
Nutrisystem delivers your favorite foods, made healthier, right to your home.
On Nutrisystem, I got to eat everything I wanted, and believe me, that's a big deal.
It's flexible. I can even eat out with family and friends.
Even enjoy a glass of wine. Order your 28-day Nutrisystem Flex plan right now and we'll rush you a Jumpstart week to lose weight fast. With probiotic shakes to help shrink your belly, free. Plus, order today and get 40% off of every program.
I saw results right away. I'm Morgan, and I lost 105 pounds on Nutrisystem.
Nutrisystem works.
Go online or call 877-976-THIN and get free shakes plus 40% off every program.
Managing blood sugar isn't a marathon. It's a series of smart choices, like using Glucerna to replace one meal or snack a day. Only Glucerna has Carb Steady, unique blends of slow-release carbs to help manage blood sugar. Every meal, every craving. It's the choices you make when managing blood sugar that are the real victories. Glucerna, everyday progress.
If you have moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, little things can be a big deal. That's why there's Otezla. Otezla is not an injection or a cream. It's a pill that treats psoriasis differently. With Otezla, 75% clearer skin is achievable after just 4 months, with reduced redness, thickness, and scaliness of plaques. And the Otezla prescribing information has no requirement for routine lab monitoring. Don't use if you're allergic to Otezla. Otezla may cause severe diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting. Tell your doctor if these occur. Otezla is associated with an increased risk of depression. Tell your doctor if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts or if these feelings develop. Some people taking Otezla reported weight loss. Your doctor should monitor your weight and may stop treatment. Other side effects include upper respiratory tract infection and headache. Tell your doctor about all the medicines you take and if you're pregnant or planning to be. Otezla, show more of you.
Liberty Mutual saved us almost $800 when we switched our auto and home insurance.
With Liberty, we could afford a real babysitter instead of your brother. Oh, that's my robe.
Is it?
When you switch to Liberty Mutual, you could save $782 on auto and home insurance and still get great coverage for you and your family. Call 1-844-252-1806 for a free quote today. You could save $782 when Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
The U.S. and South Korea resuming annual joint military exercises after a delay for the Winter Olympics. But the drills have been shortened to 1 month with no major U.S. strategic assets expected there. Also notably absent so far, North Korea's usual objections to the drills ahead of high-stakes negotiations with South Korea and the U.S. Senior Foreign Affairs correspondent Greg Palcott is live in London with the latest. Greg.
Hi, Melissa. Yeah, I think you've underscored it. There are some high-stakes negotiations upcoming, and that's why we're seeing a bit of a different take on these drills. They are still going on, however, while hefty hardware is deployed, and that includes the USS Wasp. That's an amphibious assault ship, along with its F-35 jet fighters on board, plus 11,000 U.S. troops, tens of thousands more on the South Korean side. Yes, aircraft carriers and bombers are not involved. The usual 2-month-long exercises have been cut down. The defensive nature of the maneuvers have been stressed, and we're showing archive video because so far there hasn't been any TV coverage allowed. In the words of one of my military contacts who are involved in the exercises, quote, "We want the diplomatic efforts to stay on track." Kim Jong-un has even said that he understands that the exercises have to go forward. Normally, he and his state media are usually blasting the drills at this time, calling them a rehearsal for war. Instead, over the weekend, Kim Jong-un was busy attending a concert of South Korean musicians and artists in Pyongyang, including, maybe especially, a K-pop girl band, a very popular one. He reportedly hand-picked this band. In his words, according to the North Korean leader, he was moved by the performances. Just recapping the diplomacy coming up, aside from all of that music, on April 27th, there'll be the Inter-Korean Summit. That's Kim Jong-un and his counterpart in South Korea, South Korean President Moon. There'll be another planning session for that later in this week. And in May, supposedly, yes, it's the big enchilada. President Trump and Kim Jong-un. We haven't yet heard, publicly at least, of any planning for that. Back to you.
All right. Greg Palcott, thank you. For more on all of this, let's bring in retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Michael Waltz. He is former Green Beret commander, also a counterterrorism advisor to former Vice President Cheney. Sir, thank you for joining us. What do you make of the little signals that have gone back and forth here so far?
Well, I'm glad that we are moving forward with these exercises. These are annual exercises, as Greg mentioned. They're quite large, 300,000 Korean troops, about 10,000 U.S. troops. And if you remember last year when these exercises went on, the North Koreans launched 4 medium-range ballistic missiles, including one over Japan. So on the one hand, it's good that these are moving forward. I'm also encouraged by the fact that the UN yesterday, under the leadership of Nikki Haley, passed additional sanctions over 15 companies and 27 ships that were evading previous sanctions. And 4 of those companies, I believe, were in the Chinese mainland to keep the pressure up on them. So the bottom line is we have to sustain this maximum pressure. We have to keep the foot on the North Korean economy. That is how you get meaningful results at the diplomatic table.
So a lot of people say the same thing, that we have to keep up this maximum pressure. But if we don't deploy a U.S. asset to the area during these war games, does it look like, or practices, whatever they are, I don't want to call them by the wrong name, but if we don't deploy a U.S. asset to the area, does that take some of the pressure off?
Well, I think I don't know that it necessarily takes the pressure off. If you remember before, one of the preconditions from the North Koreans is that we stop all exercises. So that's why I'm encouraged by the fact that we are moving forward, and yet he's still coming to the table. But it's the economic pressure on both the Chinese and the North Koreans that is really what bites, but it takes a little bit of time. Just, I have a healthy skepticism that the North Koreans aren't using yet another page out of their playbook to buy more time here, Melissa. John Bolton, I think shares that skepticism. Actually, we know he does. But the important thing is that they don't, that we all keep in mind the North Korean missile engineers and their nuclear program is moving forward. They're busy little bees getting that ICBM fully operational while all of this is taking place. So time's of the essence.
One of the major criticisms that we've heard of the president in advance of this meeting, and even tied to a potential meeting with Vladimir Putin, and you might have heard it at the beginning of our show, is people saying that he's not going to prepare, that he's going to walk in and he could end up getting really hoodwinked at the table because he wouldn't have put in the time. Are you concerned about that, especially given that he does now have Ambassador Bolton at his side, someone we all know well, who is very sharp, very prepared, and very strong?
Look, I think the president has one of the best national security teams around him since Ronald Reagan. Pompeo, Mattis, now Bolton, but previously H.R. McMaster, who had done a lot of work to prepare for this. I am concerned somewhat on the State Department side. We need to get a named ambassador in place, and we need to get the rest of the State Department in terms of Trump's political appointees moved through the Senate and fulfilled. But I think he'll be fully prepared. This president is engaging at a very high level across a number of stakes here, whether it's Putin or Kim Jong-un or Xi. We've seen all of his trips, whether it was the Saudi trip, the Israeli trip, and the Chinese trip. I think we're quite successful.
What do you think he has to return with from this sit-down meeting in order for you to feel like it was a victory?
Well, he has to come back with a firm commitment for denuclearization, period. It does not have to be regime change. We've made that very clear. Kim Jong-un can stay in power, but he has to denuclearize. He needs to fully understand, straight from the president's mouth, if you achieve this capability, it will mean your destruction. Now, what I'm concerned about is then on the back end, the devil's in the details, and the North Koreans can buy a lot of time there. When inspectors can go in, what kind of notification, what sites they can inspect, and those negotiations they can drag on for months while they're completing their missile program, and that's why getting some of the key diplomats at the State Department in place who know how to play this game is so important.
All right. Sir, thank you for coming on. We appreciate your insight.
Okay, thanks so much.
China is hitting back after the Trump administration slapped tariffs on them, whether it could lead to a trade war and what that would mean for our economy.
The president wants free, fair, and reciprocal trade with China, but that hasn't been the U.S.-China trade relationship for the past several decades. So he took action under 232 to defend our aluminum and steel industries, which are essential to national security.
It's 99-cent Kids Nights at Golden Corral. Now kids eat and drink for just 99 cents, under $1. Woo! It's prime time for family time. Come on now. Golden Corral. Your choice, rules.
We're finally back out in our yard, but so are they.
Introducing Scott's Turf Builder Triple Action. It kills weeds, prevents crabgrass, and feeds so grass can thrive. Guaranteed.
Our backyard is back.
This is a Scott's yard.
How did you talk me into this? This is crazy! Horns! Watch the horns! Okay.
What you don't see can hurt you. If you just monitor your credit, you can miss certain identity theft threats. LifeLock sees more, like your personal information on the dark web. And if there is a problem, we'll work to fix it with our $1 million protection package. LifeLock, starting at $9.99 a month.
Dreaming of the best sleep ever? Meet the Lacrosse Loft Air Pillow by the sleep experts at thecompanystore.com. Our exclusive hypoallergenic Loft Air filling and dual core structure gives your head the perfect balance of supportive comfort and supreme softness. Assembled in America with a lifetime guarantee. Order now and get 2 Lacrosse pillows for just $89 plus free shipping. The Lacrosse Pillow from thecompanystore.com. The experts in comfort for over 100 years.
To most people, I look like most people. But on the inside, I feel chronic, widespread pain. Fibromyalgia may be invisible to others, but my pain is real.
Fibromyalgia is thought to be caused by overactive nerves. Lyrica is believed to calm these nerves.
I'm glad my doctor prescribed Lyrica.
For some, Lyrica delivers effective relief for moderate to even severe fibromyalgia pain and improves function. Lyrica may cause serious allergic reactions, suicidal thoughts, or actions. Tell your doctor right away if you have these, new or worse depression, unusual